question from the 30s and 40s was the percentage of money that you spend on housing. That 30% long ago, based on your income, kept us from having problems battling housing rents. So I wondered, how are we going to move electively to get the politicians to write a law in Albany, being specific about 30% or less of your income? Because that seems to be the major problem. Sure, we can get the housing spread up, but if we still increase the housing prices, it doesn't do any good for particularly young families who have children and seniors like myself. Therefore, there must be a percentage of our income rather than all this other stuff that's going on. It worked back then. And I want to ask, what are we doing about that? Thank you.
I'll try, but others might. It's a great question. There are so many challenges. About 50% of the people, as you suggest, in rent regulated, you're absolutely right, are paying more than 50% of their income for rent. That's an astounding figure. So there are 2 million rent regulated, and more than half are paying more than 50%, forget even 30%. The 30% applies, obviously, if you're a senior or disabled, you can have your rent frozen at 30%. That doesn't help for a lot of people. And also if you get Section 8. We don't have Section 8 anymore. So the issue is, and the other problem is salaries for young families, for instance, and seniors on fixed income don't keep up with the rent. I don't know that we can legally, I don't know that we can freeze rent regulated or market rate. One of the other problems, to be honest with you, is that we have these many 70% of New York City residents are in rental housing, but a lot of it's in market housing. It's not in rent-regulated housing. And I don't know if legally we could manage to get 30% to be the income. That would be a great idea. Okay, the problem is we can't even get rent-regulated housing to make sense in Albany right now. It's a very challenging Republican situation, just so you know. That's what we're up against. In the 30s and 40s, we had people who cared.
She wants to hear from me. She keeps on going like this. Look, I'm going to give it to you the way I see it, right? Far too often, we cater to elected officials simply because we're comfortable, we know them. We do not know the power that we have as voters. So let's stop the contest, popularity contest, and let's really start asking questions to the elected officials, and they will do what you ask them to do because they want to be reelected. And second of all, they're doing this because it's not to get themselves rich, because there's no real money in it. For all of those of you that think that elected officials are rich, it ain't happening. They really want to represent you, but you also have to take part and be, like as Obama said, you are the change. We are the change that we have been waiting for. Our organization, whenever we encounter any issues, we go directly to this wonderful woman, or we go directly to Keith Wright. And in fact, there's some folks here that were about to lose their building. They're supposed to own it. And we had one of those come to Jesus conversations because the city was going to take the building back. And we said, oh no. We called the Assembly Member Rights Office. We had what I like to call a come to Jesus meeting. And HPD was like, you know what? It's okay. No, it's a new day. Wow. Isn't that awesome? A new day. But we were this close of losing the potential of the opportunity of ownership. So as the community, what do? We need to organize. And it's not organizing, in terms of big banners, start protesting. It's about really strategizing, like while we are here. It's a beautiful day out there. We could all be at the beach or a cookout, but we're here. Why? Because we care, and we could actually be part of the change. So we should not just look at this as one conference. We should look at, okay, how do we move forward? How do we move forward? Palante is going to start putting together monthly community meetings. And don't think you're going to get fed because we're broke, okay? But we need to start strategizing. So you're going to get some food, depending if you can give us the money for the food or give us the food. But we need to start having real conversations. We have the power to vote someone out of office, and we could put them in office. So let's stop the popularity contest. Let's make sure that people are going to execute, that elected officials are going to execute and change the laws. John, you have anything to add?
What Gail Brewer said with some dismay, that these overarching political considerations, the nature of our economy can be regulated and adjusted, but there has to be a political will, and that means voting early and often, and having the right people advance in our political environment. And I'm discouraged. I think we have to keep fighting and staying together and organizing and creating a voice that's loud and clear, especially now up in Albany. I believe Keith Wright is up there at this moment, probably fighting to improve rent stabilization. And that is vital. I can't stress it enough. Because while many rent stabilized tenants are indeed paying vastly more than 30% of their income, it is a shelter, and people take on roommates. And my sons had 2 roommates to cover an oversized rent. People can figure out a way to make it happen, but if there is deregulation, inevitably there's always going to be a pressure and harassment to drive out people who have a regulated rent, because the rents are soaring out of